Ross Chastain used the wall all the way around this racetrack. Logano has been the class of the field.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
Yeah, I need to change my underwear.
With practice and qualifying done from Darlington, Brian and I are in to talk all things cookout. What is this called?
Southern 500.
Southern. You just call it the Southern 500.
Let's just call it the Southern 500.
Make it easy on you. Make it easy on me. Brian, live from Las Vegas. Got to have a day at the sports book. Just got.
No, it was at the sports book of my condo. I have turned into such an old man. I like my own restroom, my cheap beer.
Honestly, like with the ability to bet via apps, there's almost no reason to go to the casino.
Yeah, I mean it's a fun experience. Like it's definitely something that you got to do at least once or maybe once a season. But just having to deal with the busyness and beers are expensive. It doesn't matter where you go. Like drinks are expensive, food is expensive. I'm a cheapskate, so I like buying my 6-pack or my 12-pack at the grocery store and, paying the same price for that than you would for maybe 2 drinks at the sports book. So
yeah, it's fun to when the whole book is on your team and you guys are all rooting together and everybody's high-fiving and stuff.
Yeah.
For like a game or two, or if it's a big game or whatever, it's really fun. But no, that was definitely the move, especially with all the stuff. And like YouTube TV fixed their stuff, so this year you can actually just like pick whatever you want to put on. So like this morning I had 3 football games plus the truck race.
Yep.
So that was great. So you can like mix and match. You can put in whatever you want. So
I fully know. Look, I'm fully taking advantage of your signed in YouTube account here in Vegas and doing the same thing. Like if it wasn't so expensive, I would have it in addition to my usual DirecTV subscription just for my time out here in Vegas.
Crazy. Anyways, practices are done. Qualifying is done. We know the running order. We'll build some DraftKings lineups. We'll also look at the updated betting odds as there has been some shift, and we'll figure out where we want to get in. I do have one question, Brian, before we start anything. Do we have a sporty driver of the day?
Honestly, there was, I think, 2 guys during practice that I contemplated giving the moniker to, but officially there was 0 drivers that got the sporty.
No, you got to earn it. It's not this isn't a participation trophy. Like you got to go out there and earn it.
Oh yeah.
Really.
And the thing is, it's about the entire practice session. It's not just about who unloaded fast or who was good. Like, especially with Darlington, I mean, this is a good little segue as we talk into this. Darlington is about long run pace because tires are going to get destroyed, and it's about who can run the high line and make a lap time. And guys running fast in 15 laps or even 20 laps during practice, I don't give a shit about that. Like, I got to see what you're putting in 30, 35, 40, because that's where the bread is made at the end of runs. And so nobody was able to kind of put together a complete run to get that.
My other question for you. We had practice early.
Mm-hmm.
We have a race late at night. Does practice, like, obviously it's good for the drivers to get out there, run some laps, get comfortable, whatever. But in terms of our handicapping, our figuring stuff out, our looking at lap times, tire fall off, all that stuff, does it actually matter? Does it kind of matter? Does it not matter at all? Like, where are we falling on that scale?
Well, I thought it was interesting. I believe it was Steve Letarte made mention of this during the practice and qualifying, is that he said he expects the weather or ambient temperature to be similar during the latter part of the race as it was during practice, just because it was coming out of nighttime. So maybe it's a little bit cooler than what it's going to be the early portion or late or middle part, which is kind of why I think you saw some guys unload maybe a little bit slower than the rest of them. Maybe they were set up for that later part in the race, or just knowing that we're starting later in the day. And so, I wouldn't say you got to go dive too deep into that. I mean, you go down the rabbit hole and you'll wind up overanalyzing everything. But yeah, I'm not reading too much into short versus like mid pace. Still, if you had long run pace and you were posting good lap times late in practice, that's more so what I was keeping track of.
You can call me Alice in Wonderland because I'm going to be diving into that rabbit hole for sure. Let's dive into it. And while we're here, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you click subscribe if you've yet to do that. We're marching towards 1,500. If we get there by the end of the season, and we will do a giveaway of $100. If you can get us to 2K, we'll give out 250. So make it happen. Brian Twiney. Let me make this a little bit bigger. That's too big. How about, is that good? That looks good. Dennis Hamlin pulled it 11K. Byron 10-7, starting 11th. Kyle Larson, his teammate, 5th, starting 10-5. The 5 at starting 5th at 10-5. Ryan Blaney starting 12th. The 12 starting 12th at 10-2. And Christopher Bell starting 7th at not the 7, the 10. And he's 10K. I guess, what is your read on this range? Who impressed you? Who's exciting to you? And we'll start with Denny, the pole sitter. Is he somebody that you're inclined to play, eager to play, or kind of wishy-washy to play starting on the pole, given his track record and expectations here?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind people playing Denny Hamlin. I mean, this is a place he's won at numerous times. He won here in the spring, albeit because of a epic pit stop late in the race at a caution that shouldn't have occurred. But having the pole position, giving him the number 1 pit stall is like giving Connor Zilic a 10-second head start in a road course race. I mean, this guy already has the crew that puts it together the best when it matters the most, and he's getting the number 1 stall. This is a place where he kicks ass at. He has this whole thing going on with NASCAR and his team, 23XI. Denny would like nothing better than to win the opening race of the playoffs. And just seeing what has occurred the last couple of times we've come here, where the pole sitter has absolutely dominated a lot of this race. I mean, William Byron basically led every single lap of this thing early on this year. Denny is definitely on the list of potential dominators here.
What about beyond him? Byron, Larson, your boy Blaney, and Seabell. Is there a name among the 4 that really stands out for you for DraftKings purposes?
No question, Ryan Blaney, DraftKings betting. I don't know how many times I got to say this year. Do not look at anything prior to 2025 when it comes to the 12 team. All that shit can be tossed into the trash, burnt, and just sent to a different dimension because it means nothing about what's going on with them right now. In practice, he was probably 1A, 1B amongst all the playoff cars when it came to mid-length pace and long run pace. And knowing that they didn't fire off as well, I mean, he still qualified 12th. They were probably set up for the nighttime racing conditions where he's going to be the fastest on the long run again.
I'm going to have to bet him, aren't I?
At this point, I don't see Blaney not performing as one of the top 4 at worst cars here. I mean, obviously you always run the risk of him having an issue on pit road, but they've kind of cured that too since they made a few changes early on in the season. Since then, they've been really good. Like, you're getting a guy who is now the co-favorite just beyond Denny at sportsbooks to win the race at starting 12th. I mean, look at all those positions that you're going to be gaining there. And a guy that if he gets out front, adios. Like, he'll just set sail and destroy everybody, in my opinion.
Yep. Let's talk the 9K. Tyler Reddick starting 4th. Good luck. Chase Elliott starting 21st. Chase Briscoe 2nd. Joseph Logano 14th. Is Elliott a mover that you have interest in, or is he going to be someone that probably gets a little too much exposure and is somebody that you're going to kind of avoid a little bit?
Yeah, so Elliott is an interesting case this week because this is a track where he traditionally does not qualify well. I mean, we're looking at outside the top 12 in 7 consecutive trips here. Yet he finishes inside the top 10 pretty much almost every single time. So he's going to be extremely popular. During practice, he was the one guy that late in the run was as good, maybe even a little bit better than Ryan Blaney, as we had a lot of laps on the tires. But the worry here with them, and we've seen this already this year, is that lack of short run pace makes it to where they don't have enough time to actually make up the ground late in the run, because it takes them getting so far into a run. By the time we even reach that point on the tires, the pit cycle is starting. So as much as I would like to say I think Elliott is a smash, I think it's more of like a 50-50 type of call where you want to play him, but you don't want to get too invested because he could just ride around and wind up 9th or 10th just as easily as he could if he's able to get track position, finish inside the top 5, top 3.
Yeah, it feels like you're getting a little bit of an opportunity at the betting window to bet his top 10, or maybe like top 5.
Yeah.
From a DraftKings perspective, he really feels like somebody who, to your point, will move forward, have probably a solid day, but might be more in that 8 to 14 range, as opposed to somebody who could maybe flirt with a top 5. And then that, from a DraftKings perspective is not as fun. Briscoe starting on the front row, 9,200. Joseph Logano, do you have as much optimism for him as his Penske teammate, or not so much?
Joey was the 3rd best Penske car in practice.
And if we're not including Josh Berry in that mix, then I think I know who you're talking about. I'm very excited.
Yeah. Now, of course, Joey Logano is one of those guys where he'll get track position at some point in this race and just be the thorn in everybody's side who didn't play him or are in like head-to-head DFS matchups with somebody that just wanted to be tricky and played Logano. But he's not somebody that I'm running to the roster here to put in my lineup. Now, I do think you want a little bit of exposure just with how good they are on strategy and that type of stuff. So, yeah.
I think at a betting window, he makes a lot more sense. I feel like he could be somebody who's not really in the mix most day. And then all of a sudden he makes like you mentioned, a pit strategy call, stays out on 2 tires, something like that. And all of a sudden he's running, but he's not going to have the laps led and the fastest laps and all the other stuff that is going to be really important.
Now, before we get out of this group, I do want to say I made a vow. I am not touching the numbers for everybody's sake and for his sake, but Tyler Reddick had a car in practice. He had a few spikes in lap times, but that was mainly due to him actually passing cars during the practice session. And when you look at Darlington, I believe it's 5 of the 7 next gen races here have been won by cars that have started on the front 2 rows. Reddick is somebody who, if you want to pivot off of Denny and maybe just parlay him with Blaney, yeah, I am not opposed to doing that this week.
Don't do it. He may be fast in stage 1.
Yeah, but
may even be fast in stage 2. Is he racing in stage 3 is the question.
Look, if there was any track that I would still have an inkling of trust for the 45, it's the place that he rode around at while sharding himself and puking in his helmet and still bringing home a decent enough finish to win the regular season championship last year.
The one thing I will give him credit for is this is a place where if you are willing to rip the high line and be up near the wall,
Yep.
you will get rewarded. And there's 2 drivers that I trust to do that. The 5 and the 45. Is there like anyone else that comes to mind when you think about that?
I mean,
Are
we
you going
saw
to say
it
the
kind of.
12?
No. We saw it last week. I think SVG is getting a lot better at running
Well, yeah,
the top
like
lane. But,
ripping the high line to go win that.
but being being serious, yeah, I think Reddick and Larson are the 2 best at it. And I would say that Reddick is probably a little bit better than Larson here at Darlington.
Yeah. Briscoe's also starting on the front row, and it could also be an interesting pivot. I know
He absolutely hated his car. And he was not good in practice. He was a good, 2.5 tenths is probably giving him too much credit. He was a good 3 tenths off from his teammates. After we got through like 20 laps. So his tires were not hanging on. So I could see a pretty quick fall through the field from the 19 team if they don't make the correct changes. So he's not somebody that I'm running to play.
I hear what you're saying, and I do agree. Like there is definitely a world where he falls pretty quickly and is like a mid-pack guy most of the time. That being said, I am going to force us to use him in one lineup. I don't care what you say. I'm going to push him in.
No, I don't dislike it because he's somebody who, when just going back to Sonoma real quick, remember he qualified up front and we were like, oh, he's going to tank. He stayed up there the entire day, albeit completely different setup, completely different type of racing, but
yeah,
but surprised.
And he's kind of been like that all year. Like he's been so rock solid, like and winning, being competitive at different types of tracks. And it was interesting to hear it, like because they had the big media session about just like the difference between driving an SHR and driving the JGR car. And he's like, yeah, after like 10 laps, the car would fall apart. And like here, I can be on 40 lap old tires and I could still go full throttle through the corner. And like, so I think he's still learning the car, but he's obviously made tremendous strides. So I'm in on him. Obviously, I bet him to win the race. But I think he can reward those who play him on DraftKings. I think he will go a little overlooked with Denny right in front of him, Tyler Reddick right behind him. Let's talk 8K where we have Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher, Josh Berry, and Kyle Busch as the 8K rounds out. Can you make a case for Josh Berry as a potential as the dominator if you want to get a little out there?
No. I think he's somebody that could hang around possibly, but I just don't see him as being a guy that can get to the lead and stay there. Based on what I saw in practice, based on his history at this track, I don't see that. The numbers are not saying like, oh, Josh Berry can stay up front for the entire day. Now, can he say win a stage or be frisky at the end, just by maintaining throughout the day? Sure. But he's probably more likely a car that's around a 10th place car. So, he's probably moving backwards.
Ditto for Ross and Bubba. They're kind of like top 10-ish cars.
So, honestly, I feel like they could both get really aggressive in this race because, we're talking like short pitting, kind of like what Reddick did in the spring. Short pitting, trying to get that win to advance to the next round. Chastain didn't really like his car on the long run in practice, and he was somebody else too that usually when I take notes, I try to jot down as many people as possible. But when you don't make it on my sheet, that means that you probably were not significant during the session, and Chastain is not mentioned at all. Whereas Bubba in 23:11, even their teammate Riley Herbst, as we'll see later, like they were very quick in practice, at least on the short run. So if we got shorter runs at the end because of a caution, I trust Bubba way more than I do Chastain, despite the number one's stats and like restarts and defense and all that stuff. I just don't know if he'll be up there at the end.
No, that makes sense. Any interest in Buescher or Kyle Busch as movers who could get into the top 10, maybe even flirt with the top 5?
Much more so in Buescher than Busch.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Busch is like
out to lunch.
Yeah, I feel like he's on to the next stage of his racing career, which is helping Brexton and like just going out there for fun now. I mean, he pops occasionally, but he never finishes races, and yeah, he's not somebody that I want to get exposure to.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. We'll have silly season obviously coming up much sooner than later. Him and Kez and some of the other old guys. Let's talk 7, where we have Alex Bowman, the aforementioned Brad Keselowski, Austin Cindric, Kosten Hocevar, Ryan Preece, and Eric Jones rounding out the 7K range. Bowman ass, Keselowski ass.
So, as I mentioned earlier, there were guys who unloaded like shit, but were really good late in the run. That is Brad Keselowski. Now, he's a veteran. He's been on this track probably as much as anybody that's in the Cup Series. So obviously he knows how to get around here. Just 2 years ago, he was competing for a win. I don't hate playing Brad. He's going to be extremely popular. With one caveat, there is a high likelihood that his lack of short run pace results in him getting lapped early on in this event, in stage 1. Yeah. So you have to be willing to risk you basically losing one of your biggest movers getting lapped to begin the race, essentially.
Yeah, maybe we'll get Justin Haley to Daytona, but I think he's a guy that I'm happy to fade and hope that 30-40% of the field is wrong.
Yeah, because he just didn't. He doesn't have the short run speed, and we've seen this too many times. And just like I said with Elliott, the runs are not long enough on the tires for it to make a difference for the guys that don't have any short run pace.
And pivoting to, say, a Ryan Preece, his teammate, for half the ownership, does it do anything for you, or is it just nah?
I didn't really get a gauge on Preece because he hit the wall pretty hard early on in the set. I think he only ran like 3 laps or 2 laps before he wrecked. And so he had to put new tires on or do something and then go back out. So, but he's not somebody that I consider good at Darlington. I mean, we'd be basing it on just RFK's performance this year.
I was hoping you would just leave it at the end of your sentences. He's not somebody I think is good.
Yeah, but he is a good driver. But here it's a little bit different. And then
I know it would have just been funny.
I would rather actually pay down and play Eric Jones and give up.
You had a little optimism about him, but practice, are you still as maybe not race winning upside, but like you could see him having a strong day?
Yeah, this is a place that historically he's been really good at. And yeah, he wasn't fast or super impressive during practice either, but he's got much better track position. He's also somebody that probably unloaded with a setup that he knows is going to be able to get him around the track for this particular time slot that the race is being held at. He's a past winner in this exact race. In fact, the last time that this was a playoff event, when he wasn't part of the playoffs, the winner was Eric Jones. So yeah, and Jones, just looking at win the races projections for roster percentage, he's basically pretty low in the low teens here. So you're getting a decent leverage spot on the field for a guy that has historically performed well here.
Yeah. Any other 7K options you want to hit on before we keep it moving?
Yeah, if you want to literally, in honor of me being in Vegas, if you want to throw the dice and play some craps, Austin Cindric was bad fast. He was throwing down laps that were better than Ryan Blaney for much of practice. But the trust level for the two is down here compared to the field. So take that for what you will. He's obviously, I think you need to sprinkle him as a potential outlier in the outright market this week too, just in case they pop.
Okay. We'll be talking about that shortly and what numbers make sense there. Let's keep it cruising. 6K. Ty Gibbs, Shane Van Gisbergen, Daniel Suarez, Austin Dillon, Zane Smith, Noah Gragson, and AJ Allmendinger. You talked about SVG potentially being somebody. We've been texting a lot about Ty Gibbs today, not so much in terms of actual bets, but we're trying. I was trying to feel it out. Zane Smith, Gragson, the Dinger. I guess what's your read on this range and who's interesting to you?
Yeah, I think Gibbs's times from practice translate the best to what the guys in the second group did. And, we've kind of gone through this the last few weeks that anytime there's an outlier in the first group, it usually translates into speed on Sundays. And so I do think Gibbs is definitely in play here. Now, obviously, with him starting where he is, there's a wide range of results for this car. And so it's a little dangerous. But to see him running top 8, top 7 tomorrow night, would not shock me one bit. It's just whether or not he has an issue early, which sends him into an absolute tantrum that Gabe Hart is trying to, curb during the race, and then he just falls flat on his face. So,
Yeah, basically don't load up Austin Cindric, Josh Berry, Ty Gibbs, all these guys in one lineup. But if you're looking for a pivot in a few different ranges, we're trying to give you some options that could make sense if you wanted to get off of the chalkiest options. Do you actually want to play Shane starting 20th, or is he?
I think he's kind of in his range of outcomes.
Yeah, that's
already.
kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Let's talk 5. Let's round out the fields. We have McDowell, Nemechek, Gilliland, Stenhouse, Justin Haley, Cole Custer, Riley Herbst, Ty Dillon, Cody Ware, Timmy Hill, and Derek Kraus. Kraus. The Pickle Man.
Pickle Man did not make it on my practice sheet at all. And that's not good when you're in the first group with the no names or non-playoff guys. Now, the two guys that did, which kind of surprised, one of them didn't, and then the other one surprised me, was Zane Smith late in the run was posting some pretty good lap times. And then the 41 of Cole Custer late in practice was also pretty decent. But obviously with Custer, with him starting where he is, I don't think you can really get too involved there. Maybe somebody that maybe in one lineup, you throw him in there. And then, as I said, the 2311 cars, they have speed early, and Herbst of the group had the worst long run pace, which is expected with him being a rookie and obviously Darlington, new car, all that stuff. But if he can avoid getting lapped or even utilize that short run pace, like race pace, and maybe make up some positions early and just stay in it without getting lapped early, maybe he's a good bet for like a top 25 or something of that nature.
Yeah, I think he's also a good target where if you want to do some start with Tyler Reddick, I think he's a great kind of pair them together and build from there.
Yeah.
So speaking of building, should we build 3 lineups and see what we can do?
Let's do it.
All right, so I'm going to make us uncomfortable, and then I'm going to let us have some fun. Chase Briscoe. Anything you want to do?
Oh, man.
Ryan Blaney.
That threw me for a loop. All right, I think with that, let's lock in Keselowski with him.
Okay. Brad, welcome. Welcome.
I like that.
Who's our shitter?
Well, I mean, Brad starting 32nd is essentially a shit car.
Pickle Man.
I don't hate Riley Herbst.
Okay. See what that does. That
I mean, he
opens,
saves a lot of salary too.
that opens up a lot. Let's see.
I mean, and Riley's going to have less than 10% ownership according to the WTR. So
We're gonna save Gibbs.
I think we're good. I think we could definitely look in the mid pack too with this build.
Yeah, no, for sure. The question is, do we want to do like Logano and something? Do we want to do Busher and something? Do you want to try Alex Bowman, or do you want to save that for maybe like a Larson lineup? Ryan Preece to pair with the RFK guy.
What if we put Chase Elliott in here? Like, obviously, we're hitching our wagon to Chase Briscoe, surprising everybody.
Right, and I think that's a fine place to do Keselowski and Elliott. I don't really want to do that in most lineups.
Yeah, no.
But I think for this lineup, it makes a ton of sense. And then Busher.
Yeah, I don't hate Busher. I mean, this is a place that he's been really good at in the past, and it wouldn't surprise me if they show up really good. If Keselowski's good, then usually the RFK cars are going to be pretty decent, and they don't quit despite them not being in the playoffs.
I can't quit you. Yeah, I mean, if not Busher,
I'm gonna tell you right now, I am not a fan of Alex Bowman this week.
Austin Cindric.
I think
It's too much variance.
Yeah. I trust Chris Buescher much more than Cindric to at least maintain.
Okay, let's go. All right, we'll build another, create a lineup.
All right, let's start this one with
we'll go with
the guy in FU mode right now, Denny.
The question is, what do we do after that?
Let's do Denny Blaney.
Sure.
And then see how we can finagle.
Sure. We're going to do Denny Blaney. We're going to go Pickleman. And Gregson. Now we can go up. We can go down. You don't like that. All right. Pick one. Gregson or Pickles.
Oh my gosh.
I don't care which one. You can kick one.
Oh, give me the pickle, man. I don't trust Noah Gragson to even get around the track on lap 1.
That's fair.
I think this is a decent spot to play Gibbs too, because it's different.
I like it. I like it a lot. Zane Smith, John Hunter, Stenhouse.
Zane Smith has been really good in this package this year, and I don't think. Let me check on the win the race sheet here. Yeah, they got him at low teens roster percentage, and so we're getting different again on top of playing Gibbs with Blaney and Hamlin here.
Do you want to play Elliott?
I mean, we can go any way.
Because we don't want to. I don't think we want to play. You probably don't want to play Bell, and we don't want to play Reddick.
No, Reddick has to be on his own or with a guy like Blaney or or Larson or
Or we
something
could
like
do
that.
Logano and then upgrade Zane Smith to something a little more fun. Like if we put in Logano, for example, then we could do like a Priest or Eric Jones.
Yeah, but then I feel like we need another mover. You know what I mean? Because we then have too many guys in the middle.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because at least Smith gives us an extra like 6 to 8 positions on both those guys.
And then if we leave salary on the table, then it's giving us a little bit of uniqueness.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Yeah, and that's it. And that, honestly, when I build DFS lineups, like usually I build one a week. I don't even really look at salary. Like I try to maximize my salary. But if there's a guy who's $300 cheaper, $400 cheaper, and I'm going to wind up with $500 to $600 extra, I'm okay with that. If it's a guy that I have much more faith in, or I think is better with that current build.
I like it.
All right, this has to be the Reddick build. It's disgusting. We're the Reddick show. This doesn't count because it's not a bet.
I mean,
like I think he's going to be really good. Oh man, that is woohoo! Okay,
Byron.
I was just going to say. I know prior to jumping on here, we had this discussion, and I was mentioning how Byron just doesn't drive through the field. He usually needs track position. But he's probably a top 5 car, top 3 car. Pit road has been good the last 2 weeks, after they had their little issues. I like it. This is probably also the spot we go back to Keselowski.
Okay. You sure know Alex Bowman?
If you want to play him, we could play him. I don't know. Very similar to what Chase Briscoe was saying. Alex Bowman did not sound excited or by any means.
Yeah, he's a Hendrick car. He's starting 29th.
Yeah, but like he's the 4th Hendrick car.
All right. Well, we have 8450 per driver. So if not,
okay,
what would you like to do?
Okay, Gen 7 era alone, Alex Bowman at Darlington. Started 15th, finished 29th. Started 16th, finished 10th. Started 24th, finished 33rd. Started 18th, finished 8th. And then this race last year started 27th, finished 19th. And then springtime started 33rd, finished 35th.
Okay, I'm good.
I just have zero faith in this team at this track. And even during the broadcast, they said that the Bowman admitted these first 2 races in this round are his biggest worries.
Oh, well, then he's cooked. We should have did we boot him out in our playoff preview when we did the bracket thing?
I don't know. I sure hope so now. What do you think about either going back to Gibbs here or getting different and playing Jones?
I mean, they both make my ears stand up at attention. I like where your head's at. If we do Eric Jones, that gets us to 99. We can play Elliott.
Oh man, but then we're gonna have 3 lineups with Chase.
Yeah, that's probably dumb. And then if we do Gibby, where's Gibby? Here he is.
He's actually cheaper.
That gets us up to 10K. We could do Bell. Bell Reddick kind of seems.
So Bell was not great on the short run, but again, maybe that's due to them testing stuff for later in the day because he was pretty good longer into the run that they got during practice.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to be there all day. He's not a guy who, if he doesn't have a great car, I don't see him running 15th or 16th. This isn't Martinsville where they're just going to suck. And you're getting a decent amount of leverage on the field because according to the ownership projections, again, low teens here. Like starting teen numbers percentage on Bell.
So you're in on the 20 then?
Sure. I actually like it because it's a much different build.
Yeah.
And although we have two guys starting in that first 4 rows, I think having Byron, who's going to move up, he's a top 5 car for me, for sure. And
This is
Hurts
also a
is
500-mile race where there's opportunity for multiple cars to lead multiple laps. It's not quite the Coke 600, but it's pretty long.
Now, one question: would you prefer dumping Bell and Riley and seeing if we could get to? Because I think we don't have any Logano.
We don't.
Not that I'm a huge fan of Joey, but
Could do Blaney.
I mean, you don't have to twist my arm for Blaney, and then
we have to play Cody Ware or Timmy.
yeah, I don't know if that's worth it. If we did Blaney, I think you would do Blaney instead of William Byron.
Yeah, we're not doing that. No,
yeah, I don't want to do that because we already have Blaney twice.
Damn it! I was really hoping that wouldn't play out right.
You could play because who would you put with Gragson?
I was hoping that we could do Gragson and Logano, but that didn't work out.
Well, what if you just put Joey in?
Yeah, let's see. Logano, but do I really want to play Logano without Blaney? I mean, maybe.
It'd be different.
Yeah, the Dinger.
So Dinger was okay in practice. He had some decent fall off late in the run. And I mean, okay, I'm gonna veto that right now. Just thinking about this, that would give us the 2 biggest like hotheads in terms of if anything goes wrong.
But maybe 2 wrongs make a right.
All right, let's do it then.
I think it's the move.
All right, do it.
All right, we built our 3 lineups. We'll look at the updated odds here in a second, but I do want to pull this up because Brian and I built this in our playoff preview. We did move Bowman through. It's Saturday night. We have the playoffs starting tomorrow. We could pivot and put either Austin Dillon, Josh Berry, Ross Chastain, or Austin Cindric through. And there's one name to me that I think I want to do, but I want to see if anything pops into your head and see if we're on the same page.
Well, obviously, it's the guy that we like to support because he smashes fruit on the ground when he wins. I think that's probably a good call because after hearing what Bowman said about this weekend in Darlington, then going to Gateway, he's probably putting, or at least not yet, but it seems like all their eggs are in Bristol basket, and that may not be enough for them. So yeah, let's pivot here. Let's put Chastain through.
And then we can still keep our 8.
Yeah, no, I still feel comfortable with the.
Yeah, so I will save that. I will link this show at the end of this podcast as well as in the description. You can go back and watch it with the later running of the Darlington and no pre-race poll as Wormy will be live during the whole race. You can check it out, watch it on your Sunday, and then dive right into Darlington. Betting card as it sits. William Byron, 650. Josh Berry, 40-1. Briscoe over Reddick. Gibbs over Hocevar. Bell over Reddick. Trying to will that mullet man into victory lane, but it's something I just don't see happening. Eric Jones 70-1, Zane Smith top 10 12-1, Carson Hocevar over Ty Gibbs. As our show bet, I have Gibbs, and Brian has Byron for a top 5. Let's talk odds. Dennis Hamlin, William Byron, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe 10-1 and shorter. As always, shop it. I will pull up the other odd options on the other screen, so we don't get demonetized. But Brian, as the odds sit, who is the name your what the fuck is going on, Action Network? Let's try this one.
I will say, based on current prices,
Yeah,
and practice, speed, history. Yep, you heard it here first. I can't say it because then it's not going to happen, but you know who it is.
You can't bet him.
No, I know. I'm not betting him, but that's the thing. It's like 750. He reopened. Okay, we're talking about Tyler Reddick here. He reopened at 10-1 here at Superbook in Las Vegas, and that number was gone, I don't know, 15 minutes after I saw it get posted. So clearly, other people are looking at
money just like we do.
I will be very sad if he does win and I'm not on it, but I will take the credit for jumping off the bandwagon. But I think as it stands with the current prices inside 10-1, which having 7 guys priced like this post-practice and qualifying to me is disgusting. It's an embarrassment. But that being said, I do think that Reddick is probably the best number right now.
Okay.
I mean, he's in the golden spot, too, of starting on the front 2 rows.
No, you're not incorrect.
Now, personally, I bet Blaney pre-practice 650, and then MGM, when they posted their numbers, I don't know if it was a mistake or what, but they reposted him at 9, and needless to say, whatever I had in that account, which was not a lot, it was placed on that number, and it quickly moved to 7, down to 650, down to 6, I think, or something now. But
yeah, I was on Byron to start. I mean, he's obviously, like we talked about, I do have a little concern about him moving forward, maintaining forward. He's kind of a guy who gets middle of the pack, gets in dirty air, can't really move forward. But I'm optimistic. I think it's a good place for him. I think there's some longer numbers in market that are much more appealing. Blaney's obviously incredibly appealing, I guess.
So Reddick is 850 at DraftKings right now as we're recording this at 9:14 p.m. Pacific time.
So the 4 guys starting on the front 2 rows: Dennis Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, Josh Berry, Tyler Reddick. I have 2 of the 4 on my card, and it's not the pole sitter and it's not Tyler Reddick. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Josh Berry is like 20 now, 22. We'll obviously get to him in a second, but I'm guessing that's too short to enter, or do you think he has a real case at that number?
No, I think any value in the 21 is completely cooked, and you'd be basically placing a negative EV bet right now if you bet him right there, because the numbers that were available pre-practice were at least 2x that size. And in fact, I had bet him stage 1 at 30-1, which is longer than what it is for him to win the race. And it cuts the race size in a third, essentially. So, yeah, I don't think you could play Barry right now. I think you wait. And if he's there at the end and he's had speed all day, sure, you can grab him at 10 or 12 late in the race, because he is not going to be priced shorter than a Denny, a Briscoe, or basically anybody else that's in the playoffs if they're running up front.
Yeah. Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Christopher Buescher, Josh Berry, Ty Gibbs, Austin Cindric. That gets you from basically 10-1 up to 30. Anyone in that range that's tickling your fancy?
Well, the fact that Bubba hasn't moved a ton, which we kind of talked about this after he had come down from 30, is kind of surprising to me because this is a track where they perform really well, and he was also pretty damn good in practice. And so if you could find a 20 out there on Wallace, I don't hate nibbling at that. And it's a number that I would much rather play than, say, Barry was only available at 20 or even Barry at 25, because based on practice, like, Wallace was much better than the 21.
Austin Cindric. We talked a little bit about him from a DraftKings perspective. In terms of big game hunting, is he somebody that top Ford outright, top 3, top 5, or is he like a take him in matchups, take him for a top 10 if the price is fair, that kind of stuff, knowing he could be solid, but I don't think he's gonna pop. Where are you at with Cindric?
Yeah, I think he's definitely more of the you want to get paid on him, because in similar fashion of like a Ty Gibbs, where a lot of times they have something go wrong and then he's completely out of the picture, while other times he's able to run up front for a long period of time. And so I do think Cindric is a guy you shop prices on, maybe an outright. I don't really like 30, but if that's the shortest you could get, I don't think it's terrible. I prefer looking at the top Ford market, knowing that Blaney, Keselowski, Logano, probably Barry are going to eat a little bit of that hold there. So you could probably get double digits in that market. And then top 3 and then top 5, obviously, are the other areas I would target him in. Also, top 10, he opened at 2-1. Both Kyle and I, we played that different respective books. And I don't know if that number is available, and that probably will be long gone by the time you're watching this. But if that's still out there, that's a number I can get behind.
So it looks like Cindric's basically 30 everywhere. He's 30 on DraftKings, Caesars, FanDuel.
Yeah, he's 30 at 365 too.
So that's basically what you're gonna have to play. Seeing if whatchamacallit, our friends over at the MGM have a different number. My guess is 35 at BetMGM.
I don't even know if that's real.
I mean, I'm looking at BetMGM's website right now.
Oh yeah, when I had it up, they just reposted them. They had taken the numbers down. Yeah, I don't hate that 35 on Cindric at all. I also, this is going to sound disgusting, and I've kind of written him off and talk a lot of shit, but despite me having a matchup against him in the show bet, I don't hate Gibbs at Bet365. You could get Ty Gibbs at 50, and again, like, you want to get paid on a guy like that, and so if you could get a long ass number like that, I'm sure play a little tidbit of that.
Would you play him at 40?
Yeah.
You can get
DraftKings,
MGM, FanDuel has him at 50.
I mean, obviously, if you could get, I much prefer 50, but
yeah, I was just curious where you go. Maybe this is a fool's errand. Maybe Denny Hamlin's going to mollywop the field.
I don't see it. I just don't see it at this track. I mean, you saw it with Byron in the spring. Like, he was really good, but also he wasn't the best car late in runs. So to me, it was almost inevitable that he didn't win the race because, he was able to dominate the early portion of the event when the stages were shorter. And so the runs were shorter. So obviously the long run didn't play as big of a factor. But as we got later into the event, and as you get into the final stage, which is the longest portion of the event, you have to go longer on your tires. That definitely plays a role. Now, obviously, Denny Hamlin's probably the best driver in the sport when it comes to preserving tires, but he wasn't the best in practice. He wasn't the fastest. He didn't have the greatest long run speed. So this race is still definitely up for grabs, in my opinion.
All right. Well, I'm betting Ty Gibbs at 50 and Austin Cindric at 35. So Byron, along with Barry, Gibbs, and Cindric, I'll probably add another big fish, but I got to do some digging. We're going to read our newsletter here after this. So AOP podcast.substack.com is our newsletter. It's completely free. Go check it out if you have yet to subscribe. If you enjoy what you see, definitely consider subscribing. We talk DraftKings, we talk outright betting, we post our full card, we post our grid rival thoughts, which you can get AOP 25. We'll get you 100% match deposit up to $100. So you can get in over there with some pick slips. We'll do that. Brian is updating the card as we speak. So we'll see what that's going to be. Like I said, I'll probably add another big fish. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll just take up my wheel of losers along with William Byron and call it a day. Any other longer shots that are even interesting, like Eric Jones, Ryan Preece, Austin Dillon, Justin Haley?
Yeah, I don't know. Haley looked fine in practice. He was really good.
Yeah.
Very short. But again, he had a super big amount of fall off in his car after like 15 laps. So obviously, unless we get a late race caution where he's already near the front, he's not really going to play a factor, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, let's review their card as it sits right now. Obviously, like I mentioned, Brian and I are going to get into the lab, fill out our card, write up all of our stuff in the newsletter. So go check that out. But I have Byron at 650 and Barry at 40 from pre-practice, and I added Gibbs and Cindric. I also have Briscoe over Reddick, Gibbs over Hocevar, and Bell over Reddick. Brian has Eric Jones, Zane Smith to top 10, Hocevar over Gibbs, and Byron top 5 from pre-practice. And he added YRB at 650 to the card. Anybody else in your mind, Brian, that maybe not from an outright perspective, but you think you're going to be shopping for decent numbers once we hit end to this podcast?
Yeah, I want to see where Bubba is still priced in the placement markets or any matchups potentially, just because this is a good track for him, and they've been one of the hottest drivers in the sport. They've been doing everything right, and most importantly, he has the number one pit crew in the sport for the season as it stands right now after 26 races. So obviously somebody to keep an eye on as we enter this portion of the playoffs.
Yeah. I'm going to be interested tomorrow with Bubba, with some of the other like playoff drivers that aren't traditionally like powerhouses, to see kind of how they perform. Are they going to be cool under pressure? Are they going to go, like, is Bubba going to go back to his kind of neurotic ways? Is Bowman going to lose his shit? Is Ty Gibbs going to wreck somebody and do something crazy? So that'll be fun to kind of keep an eye on. Are you still interested in the Zane train to top 10 if you can get that longer number?
Oh yeah, 100%. He should not be priced anywhere near what he was pre-practice, which I did see. Yeah, it's still out there. Bet365, you can get Zane Smith top 10 at 12-1. This is a guy that's ran in the mid-teens, low teens in this package at almost every single track this year. And even at Darlington, he was pretty. I mean, he finished 12th here in the spring.
Yeah. Brian and I will be back next week to recap Darlington as well as get ready for Gateway.
Yep.
So very excited.
Worldwide Technology Raceway, whatever the hell it's called.
WWTA Gateway. We call it Gateway, just like we call this one the Southern 500. That is Brian Twining. I'm Kyle Robert. Make sure you go check out the newsletter. Make sure you consider subscribing over there. Subscribe over here. Go check out our friends over at Win the Race. They have an amazing deal down the stretch. $30 for a month gets you in the Discord with Brian and I. We chop it up. Brian's way more active in there. going through all the bets, talking about why Ryan Blaney is different this year, all of that good stuff. You get access to the sims and all the tools over Win the Race, which are phenomenal, plus Brian's speed reads. With that being said, enjoy the Southern 500. Check out our friend Wormy for his live watch along. Even if you don't stay for the whole thing, at least try and tap in. It'll be entertaining. He'll be talking all kinds of shit. I'm sure we'll be 27 seltzers and beers deep. I literally cannot wait. It's gonna be phenomenal. That's Brian Twining. I'm Kyle Robert. Enjoy the race. Let's cash some tickets. Let's win some money on DraftKings, and let's come back next week to recap all that was. We'll talk to you next time.